This is the third video in the series for Microsoft Project 2007, and in this video we'll just add some more extra elements. We've already got the important things done. In this I wanted to talk about something about how to check for over allocations, setting baseline, looking at some different views, and also printing your reports. So first, earlier I was in the last video I was trying to get to the timeline, and for some reason I couldn't. If you didn't see the timeline option here, you can go to View, More Views, and then you can look for timeline in here somewhere. You might see it listed here, and you'll be able to add it to your project. For some reason, I've got it missing. The other way to get the timeline is you can click on View and then click on View Bar. When you do that, you'll get all these buttons here. So you see you can go straight to Calendar, Network Diagram, Task Usage, Tracking Gantt, Resource Graph, and you can scroll down. And for some reason, my timeline's missing on this one. However, I've got another file open in which I've got the timeline. So I don't know why that is happening. Maybe I'll have to look into it later. So I can come back to Gantt chart, and you can always go to View. You can always use this option here, and you can also turn off the bar if you wanted to. And also one more thing, if you ever wanted to add recurring tasks, so I can go to Insert, and I can add recurring tasks which are repeating all the time. So if you wanted to have a meeting every Friday at 3 o'clock to make sure everything was fine, you can set it up like that, and then maybe once a week, or you can say every 2 weeks, and you can choose when it should end. Do you want it to end at a certain date or after some occurrences? And then you can just click OK, and you can put the name up there for the task, and that task will be added automatically in your project. I'm going to go ahead and change the date on my project again, so I'm just going to highlight these things I did, and I'm going to set it back to 0%. Another thing that we had used this percentages options in the previous video. You can also double click on it, and you can go to the general, and in the general you can put a percentage here like 45 or 50 or 55, 60, so a different percentage rather than 25, 50, 75. So that's an option that you can use if you wanted to. And I can go to project information, and I'll set the start date back to say 1st April. And also there is an option here that if you ever wanted to, you could actually set it by the finish date. You can set the project in the reverse rather than going forward. So in here you can do that. If you ever wanted to, you can schedule it from finish date and then set the finish date up here rather than the start date, and project will automatically adjust it according to the number of days that each task is supposed to be there. I'll just hit cancel on this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add myself to a lot of the jobs, because I want to do something to show you about over allocations. So there are multiple ways of adding the resources. You can use this resource button. It's already added there. And you can also always go to View, not View, just something easier, double click on it, and you'll get the resources option, and I can add myself here. And there is one more way. When you go to the corner here, the right hand corner, when you go to the drop down button there, you get that symbol if you look there on the corner, and if I double click, I'll get this details section here which I can use. So I can click on this job and I can see there's no resource, so I can add myself. Click OK, and I can keep doing that for all the jobs that I want. I can keep on adding myself or anybody else right in the bottom section. So as I'm adding, I'm getting added to the list. So I'm just trying to put myself in a place of over allocation. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So I've added myself to a whole bunch of jobs using the details section on the bottom, which I got through double clicking here, which you can also get rid of by pointing there again. Look for that symbol on the right hand side between the split, double click, and it goes away, and again bring it. If you right click here in the section, and you can also choose to show the resource cost. So now you can see the cost associated with this particular job and who's assigned to it and what the cost is. So you can see things by different options. So it's a very versatile thing. You can also look at notes and things. Now if you don't need it, I can just double click and get out of there. Now to look at what's happening with my usage, I can go to view and I can go to resource graph if I want. And you see it's showing me here that the over allocated people will show up in the red color. So I can just scroll across to the date, and there it is. It's showing me that some people are over allocated, and that would be me, has been over allocated extra in a couple of places. Now there are many different ways to fix this problem. One way would be that I can go to my resource sheet and you see it's showing me here in red that I'm kind of working way too much, and there is the exclamation sign. Should be level based on a day by day setting. So the one way to fix this problem is I can remove myself from some work, or I can add my brother or my dad and then assign some work to them, and or I can change my hours and increase my hours if I had availability. And there is a way to do that too if you wanted to. It's under tools, level resources, and there is the manual day by day level resource that you can go through, that you can level the entire project. There's an automatic option. They do not recommend this. So depending on how big your project is, sometimes you might just go to individual jobs and then you might be able to do it. Otherwise you'll have to use this leveling, because it will take you and it will level everything for you. Another way to level resources by splitting some tasks. So if I go to view, Gantt chart. Now, if there was some task where I felt like, you know what, I should make some changes, I can actually go to that task and I can split it up. So, say for example, this task, I can use the split button and then I can point to it, and as I'm moving that split, it will tell me where it's going to split. And I can just click it and the task will get splitted. So that's another way of fixing problems of over allocation, by separating the jobs into extra days. So that's all about over allocation. Even before you get to over allocation, once you get to the finish the planning phase, there is an option in project where you can set a baseline. So that once you set the baseline, as you are going through the project, you can set it and you see what's going on with your project as the changes are happening with the baseline. So to set a baseline, you can go to tools, and then you're looking for an option called tracking, and in there you'll see an option called set baseline. And there are like multiple baselines you can set, so you want to be careful by not setting too many, because your project file will start to get big. So this baseline can be very good because you can look at it in the future and see what's going on as you are updating your project, because dates will be changing, things will happen, so you'll know where you are in terms of your baseline that you had thought about when you started the project. Also under tools and tracking, you'll see options where you can update the project. So you can update the project or reschedule it, or whatever is not completed. So halfway through the project something happened, you can actually make changes to the update project option. And once you add the baseline, I've gone ahead and added the baseline to tracking set baseline. And if I right click here, I can insert a column and type base. And as I type base, I can see baseline budget cost, baseline budget work, baseline cost, baseline duration. So I can have these columns sitting here so I can see what my baseline was, and if there was changes happening here, some days something changed where the tiles job, I couldn't have the labor guide, for example, and that was a problem. So So if I just click on that labor and I hit delete, that guy is removed. Click OK. Now it's gone back to 5 days, and I'll see that my baseline initially was 2 days and I'm to 5 days. And you can do this with all the things like cost and everything. So it'd be a good way to verify, to make sure that you are on track, and if you're not on track, how far off you are. Now let's look at some printing options. So at the end of the day, you may want to print stuff. So if this is your Gantt chart, and you can always move it around and adjust it to whatever information you want to show, and you can go to File, Print Preview, and here there is your Gantt chart with the legend on the bottom, because all of these colors represent something here. And you can go to Page Setup, and you can choose to have it portrait, landscape. I can increase the size, can manage my margins, I can add something to the header. So say I wanted to put the project title, I can click add. Now the project title is added. I can even put the percentage complete or actual cost, add, and it's adding the actual cost to the project. Or I think I should just go for the regular cost. Can remove that, and I'll just look for just the cost. And I can do the same thing in the footer. I can add different things in the footer. And there is the option called legend, which is the information that is on the bottom, and I can choose it to have it on every page. In my case, I don't have too many tasks, but if you had a lot of tasks, you could have multiple pages. So you could choose to have it none, or you can choose to have it on the last page, which would be like the legend page, and I click OK. And now I'll see on the top it says the name of the project, and there's the cost on top of it. You can also print reports. If we go to reports and then go to the report option, here you can double click on overview, and you can have a project summary. Click select, and there it is. So under projects, and you can go to cost, click select. You can even edit it, and you can make certain changes, what kind of it you want, and click select, and there's your report. You can close it. You can close this. You can also email to somebody this project right from Microsoft Project by going to File, and then you can go to Send To, and you can mail recipient as attachment. This will most probably try to open Microsoft Outlook or some other program which you've set up in your computer, and it will try to send it to that. So in this video we looked at a few things with viewing, and how to level resources, setting baseline, splitting your task, updating your projects, printing, and you can always insert columns into your charts. Like say for example cost, I want to add the cost column here so that I have it available to me all the time, and I can print this. In the next video, which was the fourth video, I'll talk about some advanced formatting and also macro. Thank you for watching.